Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Wait a minute. Sorry. Welcome back to another exciting episode of LT Showcase. This week we are taking a look at the Ghost of Tsushima, or Tsushima, however you pronounce it, for the PS4. Absolute gorgeous samurai game. Is it an absolute gorgeous must-play, though? Let's find out.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucius T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is Retroactive.
So Ghost of Tsushima, or Ghost of Tsushima, however the hell you pronounce it, starts off extremely strong. As far as the gameplay goes, it's very satisfying doing the early hours of exploration. Everything about the game is so gorgeous. There's no map. There's no in-game map, rather, and the waypoints are very subtle, which is one of the biggest strengths of the game, in my opinion. What happens with these open-world games a lot of the time is you'll set a waypoint, and then you'll spend the whole time just looking at the line that's sending you there, like a GTA, or you spend most of the time not looking at the scenery. Instead, you're looking at the map showing you where to go, or the kind of the direction little marker that you're following. Well, with this, the way the game tells you where to go is it uses the wind, which if you slide your hand on the little track slide thing on the controller, will activate and will show you which direction you're supposed to go. And every time it does this, it kicks up more of the beautiful scenery. It really just accentuates the game. So you're constantly doing this, and then you're constantly giving yourself this gorgeous leafy, falling serenity. It's so cool. It works great. And whichever direction the wind is going is where you're supposed to go. So it doesn't rely too heavily on just following a map. So immediately, that's good. Once you kill certain Mongol captains, now basically the story is you take place in this place called Tsushima or Tsushima. It's supposed to be a semblance of Japan or something. I don't know. It might be a real place. I don't know. It's being invaded by Kotal Khan, one of, I guess, the sons or some relative of Genghis Khan, and you're trying to defend your island. When you send all the samurai down to face them on the beach at the very beginning of the game, it is shown that the Mongols do not fight with honor, because they take you have standoffs. So one of the mechanics is you can initiate a standoff, so your best warrior against their best warrior. And in the game, when you initiate a standoff, some guy will come, and if you release the button at the right time, you'll execute them, get a bunch of the almost like your magic points or your skill points. They can be refilled by doing this. And then once you get even more technique points throughout the game, you can make a chain from 1 to 2 to 3 to even 4 with certain armors, because you have different armors you can wear. Luckily, there's not swapping out of weapons. All that is cosmetic. And that's another good thing about the game, is there's tons of cosmetics. None of it's DLC as far as I can tell. But the early hours of the game are great. A lot of exploration, finding new techniques, following foxes to shrines, climbing mountains to shrines. I think it has a very big Breath of the Wild feel, more so than, say, a Skyrim open world. And then the combat is very reminiscent of the earlier Assassin's Creeds, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, you always have the thing where all the enemies are standing around, and then one attacks you at a time. But you know, it's good. And you have 4 different stances. So originally you have the stone stance, and you can unlock the water stance, the wind stance, and the whatever the hell the other stance is. Water, stone. It's not fire stance. Anyways, you have 4 stances, and each one of them is effective against different enemy types. So the stone stance is good against sword carriers. The water stance is good against shield bearers. The air stance is good against ones who use spears. And the more techniques you get, you can eventually learn how to block incoming blue attacks. You can never block red attacks. And the way you get points to unlock your stances is by killing the Mongol leaders or observing the Mongol leaders. And there's two main types of combat. There's the Assassin's Creed kind of fighting, or you could do stealth insurgencies and kill people via stealth, hiding in the shadows, which I'm usually not a big fan of it when the games give you multiple ways to do it, because it's like, well, which way you're going to go? But this game does a great balance of both of the types of combat are fun. You get to a Mongol encampment. You know what? This time I want to do a standoff. I want to fight them all toe to toe. The next time, you know what, I'm gonna do a stealth mission. And in fact, the first stealth mission I did, I actually had Jen play, and Jen went in and kicked total ass. I guess if I was gonna say anything that this game reminds me of, it would be a modern Tenchu, because that's the closest I can think of as far as this sort of, you're a ninja but not really, you can fight, and it's fun. Now the story, on the other hand, is a little up and down. I find it odd that you're such a little bitch at the beginning and then you become this ultimate badass towards the end of it, and it's a little, it's not an earned transformation because you don't have any semblance of he had this in him. The guy you play as, Jin, he's so pathetic at the beginning, and then he just becomes amazing by the end of it. And I don't buy it. I don't buy that this guy had this kind of transformation. And the game's constantly trying to have you think that no one likes it, you don't fight with honor, even though the whole world shows you that those who fight with honor will have their honor but not have anything else. Even Kotal Khan is saying that's why it was so easy to fight off these samurais, because they always fight the same way. They don't know, they won't allow themselves, which is going to be the rigidity that would eventually get them destroyed, if not for Jin stepping in and saving the day. So I like the story. Yeah, I get it as far as them, them making you to go down a path that not everyone's happy with. One thing I will point out is that as far as the cast of characters go, I don't generally try to comment on things being too woke or intersectional, but it was a little interesting that of the 4 main story arcs you find at the beginning of the game, one of which is a strong, powerful female ninja who's badass, and her brother who's a complete idiot. The next one is a older matron samurai chick that is an ultimate badass and is betrayed. Her family's killed by men, of course. And the third one would be a older samurai archer who was disgraced and trained a protege that, of course, is every way better than him. That's also a woman. And betrays him, although the later you get in the game, it's kind of like, oh, did she really betray him? And anyways. And then the fourth one is your childhood friend, who, of course, is a man and betrays you. So, yeah, it's not woke as hell, but I just had to comment on that. Like, it was kind of funny. Yeah, I get it. All the samurai men are dead from the beginning, so, of course, the only ones to be left are the badass women or the disgraced men, but I just had to comment on that. But the game is fun. The combat is fun. The exploration is fun. I just think it has 3 different sections. So once you beat the first section, you unlock the next part, and then the third part. I think it's about 1 section too long. I think it really could have ended after just the second section, because it doesn't add much. After a while, the combat, the uncovering of new areas, it just loses its luster. So I think now, I know in my greatest games of the year I put it at number 2, but definitely after beating it, because I hadn't beat it at the time, I would put this under Streets of Rage 4, maybe even lower than that, but it's still a great time. It's so gorgeous, so polished. Now, when I first recorded the footage, I have HDR enabled now because I have a new TV, and apparently my Elgato does not pick up HDR, because when I was looking at the footage I had on my computer, I know sometimes it's a little dark, but this one looked awful. And it took me a while to figure out once I turned HDR, then I got good looking footage, so thank God. And then there's a really cool Kurosawa mode where you can make it look like an old school Japanese movie. It's a filter, makes it black and white, changes the sound. I tried playing in it, but the sound difference I just couldn't get over. But as far as visually, it looks great. Visuals for the whole game are amazing. The map system's great. The combat's fun. It definitely makes you want to keep playing. I think the things that really bog down is the story. The fact that the main story threads are like 9 parts, but a lot of them just feel like nothing happens. They could have been cut in half. Like the fact that I got to the end of the game and I still hadn't finished the Archer storyline. I still hadn't finished the matron samurai lady storyline. I finished the ninja lady's story because I made sure I did. All the different armors are great, though there might be a little bit too many. The customizations are cool. I love stuff like the haikus, and just slowing down the pace at times is really nice. But like I said, it wears out its welcome. I think the game's probably about 20 to 30% longer than it needs to be. And that's where I'm at on it. But as far as the rating goes, Ghost of Tsushima, this is a solid 8.5. Very good game. A great pickup. Great way to send the PS4 out the door as far as exclusives. If you have a PS4 Pro or a PS5, highly recommend playing it on those max settings because it is a gorgeous looking game that runs on the PS4, unlike Cyberpunk. So yeah, that's my review. It's been so nice getting a hold of you guys. Take care.